There's a peculiar dilemma with turning Mad Max into a video game. As so many others have been inspired by the series, we've already ventured across several post-apocalyptic wastelands with bandits at every turn and villages made of scrap. Yet while it certainly has its share of familiar open-world trappings, the Mad Max game from Avalanche Studios somehow refuses to feel stale. The story begins with Max having a run-in with Gastown's bandit leader, losing his iconic car in the process. As fate would have it, Max then forges a partnership with Chum Bucket, an unhinged mechanic who quite literally worships cars. The two set out on a mission to build a vehicle that can take Max across the Plains of Silence, and they search the Wasteland, making alliances to find all the key parts they need. There are a few complications near the end, but for the most part, it's simply about scavenging, following leads, and doing favors to build the best car you can.
Please! Please! Please!
While Mad Max is probably at its best when it lets your imagination fill in the blanks, the game has a tendency to over-explain things, stomping on its own narrative. After a brief exchange with a woman in a cage, a message prompts you to read her bio, loaded with paragraphs of text that you really shouldn't even know at that moment. It kills a sense of mystery, and similar lore dumps happen for every character you meet and every place you go.
Those who survived. Those are the truly broken.
To stress the harshness of this world, there's an emphasis on scarcity and survival, but it's not overbearing. While you're out exploring, you'll have to be conservative with water, fuel, and ammo, and you'll have to eat what you can find, usually maggots and dog food. Max will also have to contend with fierce storms that periodically roll in. With tumbling debris and lightning striking all around you, it's best to gun it to a shelter as soon as possible. The open world in Mad Max is not only huge, but packed with far more than any sane person would ever do. There are bandit camps to take over, convoys to hunt down, races, and countless places to scavenge. Some of the smaller objectives, like yanking down scarecrows and sniper towers, amount to busy work, but it can be fun to watch them crumble. The worst of the bunch is going out with your dog to clear minefields. Not only is the process a slow chore, but for some reason your dog can't ride in your main car, forcing you to go back to your garage, switch to a less capable buggy, and go out specifically to clear mines. At the center of each region is a stronghold, headed up by some crazy-looking tribal leader. Max makes deals with these rulers to give him places to shelter and work on the car, and by clearing the threat level in the surrounding area, you'll unlock new car parts to make. Each fortress also has special projects to build, such as oil wells, ammo stations, and maggot farms. By finding the parts and building these projects, your supplies will refill automatically when you return, and the stronghold will visibly grow more full and fortified. However, while it's fun to see a base grow the first time around, going through the same process again in 3 more locations becomes kind of a drag. On foot, you'll bash a lot of skulls with hand-to-hand combat similar to the Batman games, focusing on counterattacks and drawing some influence from classic brawlers with makeshift melee weapons that break after a few hits. It feels a little clumsy at times, but you can get into a rhythm and it pays to be deliberate with each blow. Plus, as you upgrade your moves, there's more variety with brutal, context-sensitive finishers. The worst part is wrangling the camera, especially in tight spaces. Since it doesn't follow the action, you have to constantly adjust, and it can be frustrating to lose sight of an enemy after you dodge or get attacked by someone rushing in from off-screen. Car combat is not something we see much of these days, and it's certainly one of Mad Max's strengths. You'll bash into vehicles, expose their gas tanks, and fire your shotgun or rocket launcher to watch them go boom. The best tool is your harpoon. Using it against other vehicles, you can rip off doors or tires, or you can simply yank the driver out of his seat. You can also use it outside of combat to rip down towers and open gates, and it's satisfying in every instance.
Colors. This is good.
Taking enemy camps and bases is one of the key ways you can lower the threat level in an area and earn some scrap for upgrades. Scouting and picking off the outer defenses with your vehicle is usually pretty simple, making the most of your sniper rifle and harpoon. Many bases have alternate entrances, but sneaking in doesn't offer any real advantage over busting through the gates. Then inside, you'll beat down some bandits, smash enemy emblems, look for scrap, and blow lots of stuff up.
Slake your thirst with his blood!
war criers can make surrounding enemies tougher, but they're so easy to eliminate that they're entirely pointless. Once the base is taken, allies will move in and start sending you regular shipments of scrap, but the system feels quite random as you have no clue who these nameless helpers are. Top dog bases are the largest and toughest of the bunch, capped off with the boss fight, but each boss is essentially the same, with only minor variations in their weaknesses. While there's lots of repetition throughout, the world and level designs keep Mad Max from becoming a grind. Even though it's all desert, each region of the Wasteland is distinct and interesting, using regional landmarks to its advantage. Some bases hang from the side of cliffs, while others are rusting airplanes, and some missions even have you driving through subway tunnels. Even minor scavenging areas often manage to be more involved than they first appear, and it's this sense of discovery that keeps the game feeling fresh to the end. On that same note, while Mad Max isn't the most technically impressive game, its landscapes present beautiful vistas worth stopping to take in. The interactions with the sand look great, and the engines roar like the beasts you'd expect. We did encounter some temporary dips in performance from time to time, and we also spotted a few errors when our scrap payouts didn't match the stated rewards. The most frustrating issue we encountered popped up in the last few hours, as the behavior of the harpoon became inconsistent, leaving us unable to fire at certain targets. Mad Max doesn't break a new mold for open-world games or feel like an epic cinematic experience, but it's nowhere near being a cheap movie tie-in either. It's fun to build your car, wreck some things, and explore the wasteland, and it's clear that a lot of attention has been put into building this world. Even when you've been through dozens of bandit camps, it still has a way of surprising you with what's around the next corner. Sit back and enjoy the ride.
Bon voyage!